Right. So we'll start off with some games, and then yeah, some really interesting articles have come out. Right, we've got the dev talk about color design, dev talk about hero, right? The Smash one as well, which is definitely interesting because we did something similar. Trying to design a cube for Smash, and then also some sealed decks. And then there's of course the birthday stream, right, coming up Monday with some pretty interesting and hopefully, exciting topics, right? But we will just start by, sending a few games of Kayo. And we're doing Reviled Kayo because, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with him. So, what we're going to play. I wouldn't mind actually building a Marlin deck as well. But, game should be nice to find. It's a good time right now. And I need to swap to Teleshare. There we go. In terms of the deck, right, we are do I say a little bit more aggro focused? Not enough against KO, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. KO armed and dangerous is definitely very consistent. So yeah, I mean they're letting me go first, which is definitely nice, right? Maybe some chip damage and an arsenal card. I don't think I have too many things that punish going first, though. Unfortunately, right? Like we have a lot of life gain stuff that we'd like to block out with instead. But setting up a Vig is always nice. The question is it the best play? Like pummel, I can get chip damage off the pummel, but then that's not really good enough. I also don't quite have enough resource to do everything I want, so I should probably bank the show of strength. Yeah. Yeah, that is the one big issue with Marlin, definitely. Oh, they're just so good, though. Like, defense reaction denial for overpower, yep. Gold generation, yep. Yeah. I guess it is the mocking blow. Just so I can stash a card. Or it should just be a Klloo, even. I mean, this is coming in for a 3 anyway, and I'm not going to pump it, so... Yeah, I think that was kind of just bigger generation, right? More than anything. Which is still nice. A beast within Gorn is kind of cool to see, right? Because that is definitely a nice string of power. The Mocking Blow's not nice so far. Kind of wish I still had the pummel in hand, but yeah. We could have done everything we wanted. The Vigor definitely helps, right? Means I can send show strength off of shelter if need be. But here's where the aggression goes full throttle. So I could try and get some life advantage, right? Because by the end of next turn, we kind of want to be ahead of them. They haven't generated or discarded anything, so I kind of want to hold on to the Steel Victory. So I think it's actually ditch the 2 Mockings and try to avoid damage and, just withstand the endless barrage that is currently KO. Yeah, and then a nice 7. 7 we can get to by... What's a 9, even worse. Still, I get their might, which definitely helps. I still have to keep the 1 resource, though, which is fortunate. Will probably put us under, so I do kind of have to block a bit more and just hope they take the majority of the hits. And then we can gain life advantage. I'm very tempted to put a few more things in for life gain, just for the early game, because you really have to just get ahead. Otherwise, a lot of your deck just shuts down. Yeah, giving flesh. The problem is I like to hold flesh bag until the life exchange, right? So once we're ahead on life, then I can give flesh bag as sort of a way to maintain that, because that is where a lot of our power comes from. So yeah, either if I'm ahead on life and they're going to take me under, I'll give flesh bag, or generally the first blood rush you see, you're just scaling it, yeah. But still taking 2, and then pitching shelter. Ugh. So it's a 9 back. It's not horrendous, right? We blocked a lot of damage and then still sent a 9. I don't know if I'd kill them before Blood Rush. Because KO is like consistently 14 above. Like the beginner version I made by swapping in Ball Breaker, and then if you stick in the beast within that, and you can get to like 16 average overall. So a proper tune KO is absolutely disgusting at the moment in terms of just the aggro game. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Still no life gain. I mean, these are the big issue. This is kind of a scaling, right? So then I can show strength pummel. The 2 resources go to waste. Actually, I have tunic, so I can save 1 card, or I can give 1 card, I suppose. I guess it's rowdy, scaling, and then they can pitch into the Klloo if they want, but we'll see what they do. Blue can pummel 6, they pummel targets, they gain life on attack. You don't really even need the pummel. I mean, look at this. That's just so aggressive, right? Off of our disruptive. Like, the Buck Wilds are kind of a big issue. The fact that he has access to all 9. Show strength first in case they overblock. They have to block 12, give or take some of their power cards. Like, it's a really fun deck. I've enjoyed playing it. Again, even the tuned down version is surprisingly decent. I mean, I used the tuned down version to absolutely demolish a gravy. Right, that was the last vid. At least this slows them down. Problem is the life difference is now, making a decent chunk of my deck a whole lot less meaningful. We still can't stash a card. The villain is posed NIMBY, so I can stash your strength. I guess, then that's just kind of pushing damage. And it's a more well-rounded play, I guess. But, yeah, Buck Wild is crazy. You still sort of need things to line up, and, Syndra can push as much damage, so if you're going back and forth, sort of a coin toss. And then Syndra's sort of execute is definitely a bit closer. But yeah, like the consistent action point for the 3rd red Bare Fangs all the time where you don't have the go again piece. Like this is still going to be a massive turn. At least 15, most likely. It's just 15, 15, 15, 15. And then I don't really have enough blues. We have a little bit of life gain. Doesn't help us currently. We have 1 vigor. So if I keep that, I'm fine. So I can block 2, but I'm just taking lumps. After lump, after lump. Can I use Meeps at all? If I take the full lot of damage, I can use Meeps and maybe push back. I think I kind of have to just try and go back and forth, even though we will just lose from it. They do have another go again piece. That'll be scary. So, Bandit Claw into... Seven, a Beast Within. Now, it's not too rough, but we are awfully low. We'll block and life gain. Wow, we'll set the Sigil in the arsenal for now. But it's the fact that his average before you throw in Beast Within and Blood Rush and the little high roll things is just so aggressive. 8. Like, even subtracting 1 card doesn't do a whole lot, because then they just go down to, like, a 9, which is still pretty scary. And it's not even a case of, like, save Savage Sash for, what's it called? For a Blood Rush turn, right? Which is another reason why I like Savage, Tunic as well, for Kayo. Like, Ball Breaker and Tunic, I think, are actually viable, just for pushing damage. Sigil to gain back. I can't really sit above them. We do have outside interference for a boo, so I can still send a claw into mocking blow if I want, and the villainous pose. So this is a give, and Sigil's a give. So definitely want the might token, and to try to avoid some damage. If I can get the double boo, maybe we can stabilize. But I'm probably not blocking whatever Oh, it's a cast bones, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Like, Blood Rush there was more just to level out the average. I can Sigil for the life. Blocked with Meeps. Why did I block with Meeps? Pretty sure 2 would have been the proper value. I hate having to turn on priority. Also, what was I thinking of doing? By Meeps first, I think I miscounted cards, definitely. I think I was thinking of pitching and playing this, which obviously doesn't make sense. I can Villainous Pose it, try and draw a card. Big Bully is also on the table. I guess it's Claw Big Bully. It's Claw Big Bully. Whether or not this can land to go for it, which I don't think I can do that, so... Or... Pitch. Discard, and I'll save the Tunic Charge. I mean, technically, we have enough damage to force their hand here. Which is why I kind of really want to send the Meeps. If I send the Meeps, can't play Big Bully, so if they block it out, my turn's ruined. So it's Big Bully, and I just have to survive. So I'm going to Tunic so I can save Mischievous Meeps, because I probably have to give the majority of my hand. Yeah. We had Mockingblood instead. I wouldn't be able to buff it. Actually, I would have. But fingers crossed. Where are we at to? I think it's pretty good, though. Dash blocking really helps aggro matchups. Like, +2 life. A little buff rate every turn reminds me of Syndra, actually. Yeah. Mischievous Meeps is going to my arsenal, so I can gain the life, and... Scary with the might, but they should only be able to go 1 attack claw. Which usually is about a 10. So they can't even claw, and this is just a 10. We can gain some life with booze, with Villainous Pose. So, our play is... Oh, they conceded. I mean, if they started blocking out, they kind of could have maybe won. What would have been our play? So our play would have been block with Fiddlers, take 9, gain 3, and then just send Villainous off of Meeps. I suppose I could have taken the whole lot and then done Mischievous Meeps forward. Would be 6 for 10. They wouldn't have required their full hand. I don't think conceding was correct on their behalf, but anyway, we'll take the win, right? I really gotta remember to save the deck. Make this easier for finding new games. I mean, maybe we should play some Kayo. We might play Powered Down Kayo. Against Syndra, this is always god-awful. I don't think you ever want to give them the Arsenal card. Erase Face. Instead of what? I think it's better than CNC, because they don't really take Arsenal cards. Well, I say that, and then you never know the flavor of Syndra you're getting. I assume every Syndra is redline. No worries. Enjoy your work, hopefully. Problem is, I don't think they were slowly losing, though. But anyway. Delta's good. Pummels. Actually, the pummels are probably dead weight here. Ah, beautiful. Life gain, but nothing to do with it. And then 2 blocks. So this is the perfect. Could have gone second hand. What? I guess I give the fiddlers and just villainous pose Klloo. At least I get the vigor. Awful. Yeah, I guess that's their mentality. Problem is, I do have a lot of 2 blocks. I was out of equipment, and they should be able to comfortably send 7 most turns, or even a little bit higher. Yeah, no free damage. Rising Resentment's good to see gone. In which? This KO or that KO? Is the blues a... I want to say 3 or 4? Alright, so we have the life gain for the Mocking Blow. So I think because we are racing, I kind of just Scowling and shut down their first turn. They take the Arsenal card, then we go back and forth. Mocking Blow for Mocking Blow. Technically I can block 3 here. Ancestral Empowerment sort of screws me. We have 2 block, 3 block. Yeah, I'll block with equipment. I think we should be able to manage here. We get Scab Skins down to a 1, which is definitely nice to have in the back pocket. If we're Scowling, let's not have to double block. No, if we're Scowling, they could send the last card. No, they didn't. They didn't chain link here. Scowling means I shouldn't have to block it all, and I can end up stashing the pummel, and I think that's better. Well, I might have to block a dagger. Yeah, no. That was slightly bad, actually. Because ignite the dagger. Went through, double block the last card. See what the last card is. There are 2 Draconic Chain Links anyway. So it must be something Draconic. I mean, I should be able to block the last card. Alright, Sigil. This is also what we have to watch for. Well, actually, if they flick the last dagger, Sigil screws us. And it is a lava burst. There's no reason they're not flicking. I'm a lot less happy. I think I played that horribly. The scaling was correct, but how I handled the dagger was wrong. So against the lava burst, there was no real right. They flick here, and Mocking Blow is no longer valid. Or not. I forgot. Good. Click. And Sigil is worthless. I mean, we can still pump Mocking Blow. The lack of vigor is distraughting. Just a 6 is not good enough. At least that's one less card in hand. And 4 is still problematic. There's no equipment destruction we can run, right? The way to break Mask would definitely help this matchup. Feels like breaking equipment could have been a Reviled mechanic. Starting with the Rising Resentment, that's interesting. Our blocks are also pretty awful this hand. And we do have Tunic up, so I ideally want to keep the Pummel. Maybe it's enough to slow them down? Just Rebel is a 4. They'll block out, they flick. They're going to get Mask anyway, unless they get more cards. And I want a Pummel, so I have to keep everything. I'm just hoping the Erase Face landing is enough to ruin their next turn. And Lava Burst both times. At least it just means an Arsenal card. But once the life, gets like this, I don't think we have any way to manage. Race face. How much they block. Here's a blue Pummel, which isn't the greatest. Problem is, even if this slows them down, my next hand's a crapshoot. If it's, KO stuff, useless. If it's brute stuff, then we're happy. Which is sort of the awkwardness of the deck. When you can't manage your life effectively. Well, I feel like that's sort of a given, right? Having half your deck turned off generally, is a problem. But if we can land the Erase Face on the Pummel, yeah, definitely be happy. They need 2 defense reactions, which, yeah, they have. Order doesn't matter. At least they can get a card back. They can still have 3 cards in hand. If they go for it, just to, I guess, stabilize. Another Erase Face is nice. Problem is, we have to keep our whole hand to do it. Definitely a problem. They didn't loyalty, so I should be fine taking the hits here. I mean, they could flick, swing. Yeah. Have to, right? Gain a resource. They chose not to. Suppose Rising Resentment could still hit. Bashka, no. A slow turn. That helps us a little. Not a lot, but a little. A sort of big erase face. The life is definitely too far gone. But we put up a fight. It has a good mix of interactions. That's what I like about it. I never really got into Runeblade much. Aside from, combo shenanigans. But yeah, the objective is action something as an attack. Maybe a swing. I think my mentality currently is whatever weapon they end up giving him might be cracked, so I really want to learn how to play the deck properly, like I did with Max. I had a lot of fun actually exploring proper Max. Because usually I don't, take decks too seriously. It's nice to learn something proper now and then. Okay, Reno go again. Our turn. I need to go big. I don't have a boo, so outside interference doesn't really lead to much, though. Mainly there for a Mandible Claw swing and maybe arsenaling something. Need to look if there's any Reviled go again pieces. Because that would be nice to fetch with outside interference. I think it's just blocked with the Rowdy. Outside interference fetches me a blue. I have 6, so I can get to 25. No, so even if Mandible Claw lands, it's not good enough. I don't actually need a blue because I have the resource. I'm letting resource go to waste. That's fine. Maybe we can claw this back ever so steadily. I could pitch just to Mandible Claw first. But no, because I can't get them low enough. So it's ability. Fetch us. What? No boo for the big bully. Tear down would just be a big 7. So we could go 10 or we could go 9. And then keep the life gain. I think it has to be pick the blue. Honestly. Yeah, linking damage through. Tear down the idol, was a discard on hit, but only the intimidate against Revered. So nice. Don't any Reviled go against attacks legal for okay. Damn. It'd be nice to get you that one extra chain link. Because Big Bully's good as a big piece, but you just don't have anything to really feed into it. If you're missing the boo. Alright. Back comes the damage. Definitely want to just set up with boos. So we have 2, 6. I guess I can convert this to a 3 if need be. Problem is, falling behind by a turn in this predicament is not great either. Maybe it's give the boos. Then I have nothing to swing anyway, because I need a blue. I mean, the hope would be Mandible Claw, Meeps, something. Yeah. If they have Rathe in hand, then I'm pretty sure that's game. We'll try. Delta is a 1 block, gets me what? Block another 3, block a 4. Block of 4. I guess that kind of feels correct. Maybe we can slow this down enough. Perhaps Rebel as a 4. I block with booze. So, yeah, it might seem a little weird that I, did right from the get-go rather than waiting for the first flick. One, I didn't have great block pieces. I mean, we could, block with something in hand and something else. But we also kind of want to bait, for instance, like Dragon Scalers or something aggressive this turn, because there's just a lot of damage coming out. Need 3 block. And right here we can at least get the might. Not that it feeds into anything, but it's a nice interaction that I don't mind when you need a block piece. But they can still get mask. That's for the go again. So we're not dead, and we've made them use flight. That makes me semi-happy. I say that, but again, Rathe is still a card that exists. Yeah. Feels like a misplay with no block pieces, though. Because they need to be able to swing with this, destroy it, and then get it back. So this needs to be a go again, and then if this go again anyway, they had 2, right? Blaze Headlong, 2, Lava Burst, Rat. So yeah, very curious what this was. Plus they still, Vest. I guess they don't have another go again. So they were in a predicament. So we're alive. They have no daggers. Interesting. A great position, but not dead in the water just yet. I don't know, that was breaking point for the Arsenal. Yeah, so it wasn't a go again piece. Understandable then. Well, I'm pretty sure we're dead now. 2, 3, 3, 3. I suppose I should have kept this in case they do make a filthy. Maybe it's Matterfall. Problem is, I'm stuck in a loop of giving my hand. When I really want to keep something like Boost to play, I get the Vigor and the Boo for next turn. Ideally, we can go Villainous Pose, Mandible Claw. But they can definitely get to enough damage here. That is interesting. They did gain a resource. I mean, we block. See what the last card is. I'm guessing it's Filthy into Dragon, right? For the 2 damage. That's no, it's 5, but we can't block 5 anyway. Good game. Let's look at their little stat sheet, right? So average of 13 a turn in terms of damage. They are definitely a lot more defensive than KO. Where's this value? Yeah, right? So like KO can push this up to like 14 to 16 fairly easily. But then his block goes way down. I'm glad Cinderella's back in, full throttle. Did save the deck. Beautiful. Also not beating the fatigue allegations, but I really want to play Control Brute. Because Strong Survive seems so good into aggro decks. I'm looking forward to Klloo rotating. Yeah. I wouldn't mind trying Double Claw, Rhino or something. Especially with the Intimidate. You can definitely mess up people's hands a lot more easily. I don't have any Brute pieces against Brutes. Swing Big, end up better. Well, I guess Erase Face is better than some Show of Strength because they can just minus it. Oh, okay. They're Rock Rhino. Interesting. Killer's Green is nice to see. Sigil's nice to see. Hey, Scrib Nibble. Yep, stream Flesh and Blood most Saturdays. We'll say most, because I do skip a day here or there. And Saturday being Australia time. Well, they had Sigil as well. So, here you go. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a Fatigue Rhino, from the looks of it. Definitely a weird Rhino. Sorry. I need to hold priority then. Is there a way to set it so if I have an instant in hand, it just holds? Because I hate having it on hold. Because that just hurts. I'm very curious to see. I'm guessing it's just block out every 3 turns swing somehow. Huh. That turns to CNC. And not much else going with it. But kind of feels like I meant to scap skins. I guess it's just the naked CNC. So the problem is I do want to, go wide most turns against them. From the looks of their current deck. The Van Brace of Determination as well, onto Rock. God, this seems so goofy. I hope I lose. Just so that there's a rationale to look into it. Reaction, so they can't even pitch to this to set up Rock. Hate the same drum. My hands are not great. Yeah, so they are super fatiguey. I guess I have to swing. I don't have to, but... Oh, I'm 1 resource short. Could have probably played the Sigil then, because I don't think they're attacking. There's a show of strength at least. Vigorous Roar, so that's how they get the Vigor for Rock. Oh no, wait, they didn't get any. This is an oddball deck. Yeah, if you could pitch, if this was front, that would be nice. They, they didn't destroy my Vigor. Um, I'm confused. Okay, well that's 10, and then I can still swing, I guess. Problem is, the show strength by itself, I don't actually think is good enough to fatigue them out. I think my priority is just to get ahead on life. 3, 6, 7. That blocks too much. I don't want the might. I want this into my arsenal, so I want this gone. Blocks of 3. I would have liked to steal their vigor. That would have been really nice if vigorous raw hit. I'm 1 over, but I need to set up a bigger hand in order to do anything. I'm very curious why they didn't destroy it. Ha! Oh, that's cool. So that's how they're doing it. I'm just baffled. I mean, it's a sizable chunk of damage, and you just block out and then wait till you have something like this. So I want to attack every time Tunic's on 2, because that's when I have my opening. I don't think there's a point in wasting the Tunic. Odd zero list running Van Great. Small stuff into rock. Interesting. They have a way to get? Probably not against this rock. I mean, we kind of just play like them. 3-3-2. Wait a turn. So they rocked by Razor reflexing. Pitching a blue, floating 2, so they could Tunic. Should probably save it for the might, but eh. Question is, do I really care about NIMBY? They should block 6 here. They don't. Unless they have defense reactions. That puts us back on even footing. They really need Vigor to land. Next attack. I guess all the next attack stuff that came in Super Slam is really nice. And they're taking all this small stuff so they can give it go again. Now this is a block 4. We have Pummel. So we need to keep 4 resources. They can only really block with the overcrowd, so I guess we're taking the hit. Interesting. Hopefully this messes them up. Definitely like seeing meme decks like this, and work too. Well, I guess I have the agility. Race Face might have been better to keep. So basically, we want to force damage now. So yeah, Race Face I should have kept. The Arsenal. Because we want to keep attacking while they have Tunic up. Because that's their incentive to go for rock. If they get greedy, then we get damage through, and we're happy. Because while they don't tunic up, they're just going to block out. Swing big. So like here, they just Vambrace, float 2, and then rock. So, I mean, scaling's fine. We take 7 and gain back 3. That's not what we want to do, because we want to offensive off of villainous. No, it has to be offensive off of booze. They don't have tunic up. I still need these 2 cards. That's fine. We still get the boo. Cool. So blue goes into their arsenal, so hopefully it's a shitty blue. Is there any way I can play Sigil if they block this? Yeah. This sets up Overcrowded as a nice block as well. It blocks 7. Well, our life is sitting too close though. The unfortunate side. At least we do have a boo for the next turn. Hopefully that helps us gap them. Well, I'm just going to go full damage then. They're not blocking. Because their turn is still going to be fairly big. But at least we have the 2 bigger boost proc. Villainous pose is free. Then we have Tunic. I'd like to replay Booze. I'd like to just take their damage. They didn't get Scabs. Which tells me they don't have a way to get to Rock. Which is great. Because it most likely means that it's 1 attack from them. We just block with Overcrowded. And then come back hard. Yeah. I'm glad they gave them 3. And they are proper pieces for the 2 decks, rather than, you know, being limited and being a 2 block. The give and take, floating 2 resources. They have to they have to be able to clear their hand, so I think we just take the 3. I don't think I ever want to help them line something up. Because the rock is dangerous. And they have scowling, so I need to dump my hand before they do that. The nice thing is, though, we can KO, whereas they can't, you know, Vambrace to our scowling. We still have 4 block. I don't think I'll get Might another time. Alright, so they are canning our stuff, which does change our play a little. That's fine. Workable. It's a bit annoying because the overcrowded now goes way down. Interesting. Okay, so Mocking Blow's still online regardless of life. We don't have to worry about that. We have 1 resource, so it and a blue is 1 piece. I guess that means we don't need the villainous pose anymore, so I'd like to arsenal it, so it should just be blocked with the overcrowded. I think that's fine. Yeah, the goon cards are a bit unfortunate. It feels like they needed a condition to create 1 token themselves, like they're just outside the threshold of being usable. Because it's something you can get to 2 iffy. You can get to 3 hardly, right? And it should be at that. It's a goal to achieve, right? So 2 Really should be it. So we play Booze, and we just send Mocking Blow. Now, it was a second cutting retort, so I don't think we should fear it. Still a 9, and we still save Tunic. Get us out of a pickle. Well, there should have been a few more, like, mixed cards. Vigor might have been too broken for Lyeth, but KO having a bit more access to Might would have been nice. That was Sigil. Race face is nice. Alright, offensive behavior is our play. We have 2 Vigor, so this is free and Tunic, so I only have to keep a blue and offensive. So we have 6 block. I'd like to Arsenal this again, so it's 6 block this way. Now they don't have go again for it. What will end up being useful near the end? Probably Rowdy. I mean, there's probably a Razor Reflex coming out. It'd be Razor Reflex, Blue, Tunic, 7. Which sucks, but, you know, it's workable. Or not. So they have the Quicken for next turn. So Villainous. Yeah, Villainous. Offensive. And hopefully they block. And we have a little bit of block coming back. The other problem, I suppose, is if they gave more access to a multitude of tokens overcrowded would be pretty nuts. I mean, it's already pretty nuts. But it'd be even worse. Take your damage, get me tokens. Hopefully it's not the last cutting retort. Now it crowd, it's real nice. Big is real good too. Alright, they didn't quite get there, but it was definitely a very interesting deck. Van Brace is definitely cool to activate Rock. No worries. Have fun at work. 7 go again. They still have to clear their hand. I mean, they should be able to output a lot of damage here. We could just block. What am I doing? Flex Strength better than Mocking Blow? No. Worse. So we have 3 resources. I want to play that, so we have 1 resource left. So I can play my whole hand if I don't block. So I guess we're just taking the damage and then having a hefty return. It's currently blocking 4, so I can get to 6. I could give Tunic. There's no rationale. I take the 7, see what the next card is. Okay, it's just big into Rock, which is fine. And then we just block 6. I didn't quite get there, it seems. So Villainous. And Mocking Blow. We are making a ton of vigor this game. It should be the Scowling, but I can do everything at instant, so it's fine. If anything, we kind of want to lose the Scowling. It can definitely mess up some later hands. They change it because this was updating before. I guess now it doesn't show the total. They still show the chain, so you can still see what they're blocking with. They're blocking 9. We still get the chip damage. Well, actually, how much does this go to? So it goes to 10, and then go to 12. We can put +5. But it's still worth. I might stash that, though. As a boo trigger for next turn. Because this just forces them to clear their arsenal. Yeah. I don't think the 1 chip damage is worth it. I think the boo for next turn is better. CNC and a villainous, beautiful. So 4 resources, we have 2. I can send meeps as well. Beautiful. Yeah, there's the scaling, which is fine. So in that case, I get rid of the NIMBY. Can I play concealed? No, it should just be the NIMBY. God. Oh, rough. That is troublesome. Really wanted it to be a blue. Then we could have sent concealed. Not concealed, command and conquer. Hmm. 4 forces a block, but doesn't really do much else for us. I think I should have villainous posed the meeps instead. They would have forced more block. What time to be running cheap shot? I don't have cheap shot, but it would have been nice. Alright, they can still kill us. They have a lot of going in pieces. And we have, like, nothing. Block the 4. Heal some more. Ravenous. How many small go again pieces? Alright, so that. Forces 2 cards, and then we still get the chip damage and set up 2 vigor. So we should be able to block out their turn and then still do something. Oh, shame. But that's the way it's going to be, I guess. Very, very cool deck, though. Nice. Never mind. Fearless. So agility, might's gone. Yeah, they can't get to enough resources. We have just a nice big bully. And a meeps as well. So we should be able to go wide enough here. They might run Reckless Swing. Doubt it. But they might. So yeah, meeps first. then Mandible Claw, then Mocking Blow so I can buff it. Not Big Bully. So 2 or 3, and then red is 10. The Mandible Claw, I think, does it at this point. Mocking Blow. Suppose we also could have just Bully Tactics them. We so desired. With the Villainous Pose would have been enough. But Mocking Blow it is. If anything, that would have then played around, you know, Reckless Swing. Somehow it lined up. But, there we go. A very interesting match against a very interesting Rhino. Right? What do they take? Whole bunch of blues, whole bunch of go again. Some interesting disruption. And yeah, Van Brace of Determination just to be able to make rock. It's really cool, right? With Tunic, you just have to pitch a blue into whatever go again attack you're doing. Very, very interesting deck at that, right? Alright, I think we'll move on to the articles, right? Take a little read about... I just know they're gonna get it. Well, I suppose they can just match up with Kayo. Anyway, article time. Which also means I do have to change. Not so zoomed in. It was a very, very interesting Rhino deck. And a very interesting way to handle rock that I don't think I've seen. Like, even the article by LSS that talked about it was Angie pots and setting other stuff up, not feeding a blue into a card like that. Definitely a really cool concept to see. And it did have some legs, right? They put up a really solid fight against us. And had a few outs. Alright, God. I really want to like this, but this is just such a long read. I wouldn't mind trying to do a summary like this. So this is fantastic for players, but I doubt there's a lot of people actually going to give it a solid read because of the length. Smash Palace. This is the big one, and then the Provoke Hero. Definitely an interesting concept. All right, we'll start with this. So this is the big thing. So they will be discussing Silver Age, and Silver Age will be appearing at Worlds Hong Kong. So yeah, there's a lot of different interesting things that I don't think have been touched on yet about Silver Age, right? For one, we don't know the exact bans and restrictions. We assume it's, you know, no Majestics, and then power level of cards tapered in. But the big one for me is what it means for products. Because obviously we just got the whole concept of classic constructed / blitz ready armory decks, and that's now out the window, right? Because that doesn't work. They could make them Silver Age flexible, but then that's also going to be slightly a weird thing because it could really mess with what cards they include, right? Because it's either all the Majestics in the deck are obviously just for classic constructed, and then, you know, here's 2 copies of X things for Silver Age, which then, you know, everyone definitely hates not getting playsets in a product, right? So, yeah. Then you also have the other factor, which is equipment, right? So, almost every armory deck features a healthy amount of Majestic equipment to, again, make sure that it's ready for Classic Constructed out of the box, and that's just not going to fly for Silver Age. So, personally, what I'd like to see is this continues and they just adapt, right? And we just get more cards put into it, maybe even a sideboard, and, you know, different equipment for different things. And overall, we just stick with the armory deck. But probably means we're going to get a return of this. And when I say this, I don't mean Blitz. I mean the power level of these Blitz decks, right? Because, you know, the majority of these out of the box are kind of Silver Age ready. The problem was they're not great pickups. So hopefully, if they do come back, they're just pushed as the new player entry thing, which is definitely really solid, right? They definitely worked at some point as a new player deck, right? And then Blitz got out of hand, and you couldn't really just grab one and go to an Armory Blitz. You'd be absolutely curb stomped. But yeah, that's what I'm really curious about more than anything, right? Not the restrictions or anything like that. Like, granted, it'll probably just be about the ban list, the restrictions, what exactly Silver Age is, right, to prepare for Worlds Hong Kong. But I would definitely like to see, in the keynotes, products and those sort of decisions, because Silver Age actually does a lot of undoing from the progress we've sort of seen through this year, because it also means, if it goes the way we expect in terms of how they handle rares and the bans and the restrictions, then sets themselves will have to be a little bit more thought out and tailored, right? Because it's either straight away we get a set and there's a whole bunch of bans and restrictions to make sure it doesn't, power creep Silver Age, or the actual set itself is toned down and there's a bigger divide between the power level of Majestics so that they fit for Class Constructed, and then the cards that fit for the Silver Age. So yeah, these 2 points are definitely the thing I really want to see. And I assume the dev talk will either be about, obviously, the set ins, yeah, probably some stuff about high seas, because, that was meant to be the really hype set. But I'm hoping that, these are all sort of just attached to one another, and it's a big, big spiel about Silver Age and products going forward. Because, yeah, this brings about a lot more changes than just a format, right? And then we have the Armory deck gameplay, which I assume will be for Reiner as the next deck, I believe it is. And then that's a whole nother thing as well, right? Because if we get Silver Age, the expectation as well is Living Legend resets. So these decks then become a bit more applicable, right? Because Reiner will be back in the game, so to speak. Yeah, November 14th, so it's a little early for an Armory deck showcase. It might even be just Reiner versus Arachne, right? Just to hype up the products for holiday times. And then golf is definitely interesting, so makes me curious the location. I mean, there's definitely fantastic greens out in New Zealand, but yeah, this is what I want to see most. Now the giveaways, awesome that this is going out. I'm curious to see if they're like the usual graded slabs and stuff, or if they're just raw cards. I doubt they're just raw cards, but either way, this is such a fantastic card in terms of a celebrational thing, right? And it hits the mark, right? Because you had like Marvel Emperor and Marvel Enigma, and they're fun cards, but obviously they don't do much. Whereas Pleiades, being an adult with this alt art, is definitely a lot more desirable because it's for Class Constructed. Granted, that may change for well, actually, probably not, because Emperor and New Moon are both legendary, so they won't fit in the current idea that we have for Silver Age. And then it's the Young Heroes, which I guess is going to be, here's the young heroes for Silver Age, and they're going to try and push, a bit more love to the young Marvels. So I don't know, if you're sitting on a whole bunch of young Marvels, might be a time to shine. But yeah, that is Monday, right? Bright and early here in Oz, but afternoon, late-ish everywhere else. Nice golf time as well, 10 a.m. It'll be really hot. But yeah, 6 years. Fantastic, right? I remember all the game won't last and all that, so wonderful to see, and the fact that they keep, changing as need be is definitely a welcome thing from LSS. There's ups, downs, and then a whole lot of reform, which is definitely nice, right? So yeah, very excited to see what's announced there, and what's sort of held for Worlds, right? I mean, there is the keynote there, so I assume we will get a decent chunk of goodies, but that proper next year stuff won't be till a bit later. Now this, so masterclass in deck building, which is definitely a fantastic thing to have. The type of thing that would be great as a little booklet, but it is definitely a lot to read, right? I'm glad they used the vanilla cards, if you will, in terms of showcasing the stat line. So up one, down one. I think I actually have a very, very similar art asset, surprisingly, because I was meant to talk about card evaluation at some point. But there's so many other great, learning resources that put a pin in it and never went back. But other than that, right, breakdown of current heroes, certain cards, it is fantastic. These little, demo articles that they have, especially the ones made by players, are fantastic, right? Because this is another question that seems to pop up a lot now that, there's more and more people jumping into Fab, is evaluating, the ratio of cards. So, yeah, I would say if you're up for it, definitely give this a read. Granted, I haven't given it a proper read yet because it is quite long, and it would have been great as a, video on the Fab channel and then a link to the article. But yeah, I'm glad they're doing a lot on the content creation side, right? Now, homebrew. So this is something that I want them to push more, right? The flexibility of the event deck. So what we did was for Super Slam, I just said, throw in Primer Crowds and make Primer Crowds an event that when it's flipped, it just resolves, right? So that's the general idea. That's basically the mechanic that they're going with the event deck, which makes it, flexible. You can add whatever you want to it, and you can really just make it your own homebrew fun for kitchen table UPF. But the idea here is you stick time snaps in the event deck, and then, when it comes up, you get the time snap potion, similar to the actual equipment they stuck in there, which they are unfortunately taking out, right? Well, this is for Smash and... No, Smash and a few extra oddball heroes to throw in there as well. But yeah, I want Smash Palace to succeed because I want more variants of Smash Palace. So, fingers crossed this helps with that. Other than that, decent deck lists. I'm very curious, do they stick to the 30 cards? Or do they make proper blitz decks? Does it say card totals? It looks like a 30 card deck given the counts. No. This is also nice. Actually, I haven't checked out the deck thing because it's, been a while. But yeah, really, really solid. And they're a good mix of power as well. There's nothing too escalating, right? Definitely a nice brew. So if you haven't tried Smash Palace, try Smash Palace, right? Get the sales up, make it something that they continue, and they do it yearly, and they just, have X amount of heroes, right? It would be fun. Yep. And then this definitely interesting one. So Provoke, right? And it being initially a hero. Snyder the snarky prick, right? So once per turn action, pay 1, your next attack this turn gets Provoke, so similar to the actual card of Provoke. When it's its hero, if it isn't defended by an attack action card, they discard a card. So a little bit different to how Provoke ended up. Provoked, you look at their hand, and as long as it has block. What's the actual wording on Provoke? Basically, it's you either block with it or discard it. So it's very similar. But this was, cool hero art, right? Or could have been cool hero art. Now, if it's an action card, add it to the chain, otherwise they discard it, yeah. So this is a bit more grounded, being against attacks. But I would like to see, a whole mess of heroes that don't make the cut. Because I understand the balancing act of this, but then you have stuff like Melody, where it's very simplistic, and Melody was obviously just designed around the song mechanic, and not really being a proper bard, despite the fact that they gave Final Act, and Final Act is a crack card, right? There's so many other heroes that they had access to that type of card, it'd be nuts. But yeah, it's definitely, again, another really cool read, and I love all the behind the scenes in terms of the card design and everything, and the other forms of disruption that they have, and why this is very, very annoying, especially against certain decks like a Warrior Mirror match. This gets really egregious. And it's the next attacker's turn gets Provoked. So you could do like a mix of big, right? Warrior. Reprise though is overall the thing that we wanna see back. I think there's definitely ways to make it, decent, right? But the fact, just a dueling hero would have been really cool. So Science Journey is a reminder that even failed designs have value. Each misstep teaches us something about balance, theory versus practice, and what makes Flesh and Blood so exciting to play, right? And how cards, sneak through and become absolutely egregious. Snyder taught us that disruption must create tension, not frustration, so it must feel like some interaction. Whereas again, against just certain decks, that type of hero ability would just be clear cut crap. Similar to like Bonds, where there's nothing really you can do with the amount of reactions on access and the amount of times that Bonds could have been played, right? So yeah, control must feel earned, not oppressive, something that is extremely hard to achieve, but also something that's very valid for the game because disruption does play a big part in, getting that value back or swapping tempo, right? And sometimes a discarded idea just needs to be reshaped, not forgotten. Snyder may never have entered the Deathmatch Arena, but his legacy lives on every time Provoke hits the table. Proof that even the pricks of the past can evolve into something better. I mean, stuff like this, and this is another thing where we go back to Smash Palace and why I wanted to succeed, because, again, they haven't announced it in this fashion, but, again, the general thought is Silver Age will just directly replace Blitz, right, in terms of skirmish and other competitive events, rather than, for instance, say we only get Class Construction and Living Legend, Silver Age is just the armory thing for new players or something like that. So, with that expectation, again, if Silver Age becomes this much better tailored, looked after format, then we've also lost a testing ground for new heroes, because that's in part what Blitz did as well, right? It's where they stuck hero designs they weren't sure if they'd be, okay to unleash in Class Constructed. So with that in mind, again, as a UPF hero, could have been exciting. The other UPF heroes we have, there's a good mix of ones that are clearly designed for UPF, others that are, somewhat of a test, right? Or a little bit of both, right? Somewhere in between. So yeah, I want UPF to succeed in that sense where it becomes the card design playground, right? To try cool things, to try, out there things that might seem a bit broken, but you're all having fun, so it doesn't matter as much. And then Silver Age remains a proper tailored experience, but that's where, again, everything has to succeed. And unfortunately, LSS are horrendous at maintaining product lines, right? So many things get thought up, made, and then axed. So, gone. Gone and invalid now as well, right? Because Dorinthia won't be available for Silver Age. Again, Blitz is technically around, right? You can still run it as armor events, right? That even though it's gone from competitive events, it will be still available to run at an armory if you choose so throughout, I assume, next year until, no one cares about it anymore. But like First Strike, gone as well. Whereas First Strike would be the perfect package or type of decks, right, for Silver Age. Mastery packs, I'm hoping don't get axed, and then obviously Smash Palace, same as well. Really hope it doesn't get axed. Demo deck instead of welcome deck. Is the print to play still up? Because I know that, well, if you still go to, marketing assets, it launches you back to the old website. These really suck too, because if you click on them, they stop coming back and forth. But I'm pretty sure we go print to play, yeah, 404. But I think there's still a way to get it through the learn, because the print to play decks are definitely great. I'm surprised they didn't do it for Bravo. But like, these could eventually be axed. They don't really serve that great of a purpose. They teach you a few things, but when it comes to, really learning the game, with Silver Age, the hope is, again, that they can streamline things, and we just have, decks, Blitz, Armory decks. Done. And then a miscellaneous product like Smash Palace here or there. But, even bundles, right? Hunted was the last time we had a bundle. Because, well, I guess Gravy Bones came as CC/Blitz ready, right? So that sort of made up for it. But yeah, hopefully some of this comes back. Hopefully some of it gets tweaked, right? A little bit more focus on a bit better value in the box, right? To make it a bit more desirable for new people to pick up. Because I used to collect like the Blitz decks, but then there was just no merit to it. Even the Armory decks, I'm sort of over it, because for me personally, the big thing that turned me off the Armory decks is that they cut the wrapping, right? So I think it was Azalea where they cut the wrapping, and what's the point of having them if they're, scuffed, unfortunately. But yeah, overall, that's what I really want to see come out of Monday's stream, right? Is timeline for stuff in the work, right? They don't have to tell us everything that's coming next year, but Silver Age definitely has a lot more of an impact than, you might necessarily think when it comes to all these other factors within Fab and how they design the game going forward. Because, yeah, for it to be purposeful, for it to matter, right? Again, that needs to hit the competitive scene, needs to be the welcome place, and it needs to be heavily monitored, is what we'll go with, right? Because it'd be very easy for this to end up similar to the Blitz, right? You still have heroes that are a bit out there. So, for instance, like Syndra is taken down a peg because you don't have Mask. You still do disgusting things. But Kayo, for instance, still has a lot of easy access to clear cards above value turns, right? Where you can sit above, 12 on average, right? So, yeah. Hopefully, hopefully that's what we get. And this is all just future talk and the impacts and implications of Silver Age, right? Other than that, I guess what I wanted to do was actually brew a generic simple deck, right? Because I've done this KO one, and I want to continue this, right? And these essentially Project Blue ready-ish decks. I've done them for Classic Constructed, though, right? Because that's still the current main format until we get, Silver Age is the true player entry point, right? And again, there's still a lot of great value here, even without the big pieces. But I think a true starting point would be just a completely generic deck to teach the ropes, to teach, the different interactions, the different stat evaluations, then also to sort of try and figure out here's what you can exchange, right? Because that's definitely a big part. Is deck building is becoming more and more impactful, right? As we're just getting increased card pools. At the start, there was a clear cut. Here's the main cohort of cards for X hero X thing, but now we are getting different traits. I mean, look at that. The Rhino package that we just played was absolutely nutty, right? Just to build around rock, right? So yeah. The question is whom? Who do we create it as, and what are a good set of generic cards? Other than that, why don't we just pick a hero and build them first? So I just did Kayo. Someone simple, someone to play. Valda. So this is another thing that I'm going to run to, right? Where a lot of heroes are dependent on some of their fancier stuff, right? So like Awaken a Soul is kind of pointless to make a simple deck or a Project Blue deck. Because, well, currently she won't be available in Project Blue, but obviously her main play pieces just don't exist, right? Being the majestic figments. Puffin, I think, should be an awfully simple one. Because you can still take cogs. And I was meant to do stuff with Puffin. And then I never did. So yeah, I guess we'll do that, right? I do wanna how do I wanna do this? I wanna keep track of it. We'll go create. We'll do Puffin. And then we might take a crack at generic one, because I don't think Puffin will be too hard to build as a PB deck. So easy Puffin, budget and PB friendly. So the main goal, keep it under $100. Which, God, how much is Unicycle still? Well, actually, the cheap version of Unicycle should be nothing. Cold War version is still probably up there. Ooh. That's apt. Apparently doesn't want to let me build a deck. There we go. So yeah, if we restrict it to rares and commons, we should be able to crack this up. I guess overall it's a ratio of how many cogs do we take? Is it common rares? No. Base rares? Nope. And that's definitely a search. It might be common rare. Yeah, there we go. There's rares. Right. And then we'll probably throw on mech. So equipment-wise, it's definitely the first curiosity piece. I mean, you still have access to some really good stuff, like Achilles Accelerator, especially, if you don't run a cog. Because they sort of serve a similar purpose. Granted, this is definitely this is a lot more beneficial. But then Unicycle also sort of drops off as you run out of the big cog pieces. The boom grenades seem like the easiest thing. And Puffin should have a lot of great value just early on like this. You can teach, some of the simpler mechanics as well, right? What you're trying to do. Setting some stuff up, going for those big decks. And overall, it should just be a really cheap deck. Yeah, I haven't checked at prices in a while. My favorites. I feel like mech, because it was sort of climbing. But it's probably come down a decent chunk. Pricing. So 720 as the total. It's not rough, right? So there's space for every majestic play piece. For mech, I think 720 was around the middle. Assassin is probably still up there. Assassin and Ranger, mainly because of Codex, were both over $1,000. Alright, that's cogs. Unfortunately, though, backspin won't be in here. Right, we can stick that in the maybe. Pitfire is still nice. Rust belts. probably decent enough as, again, a common / rare pick. How to phrase this? We're essentially building a 60 card Project Blue deck, right? You just take out one copy. Which kind of makes it end up similar to a, I guess a limited deck, in a sense. You definitely want easy access to a lot of cogs, but then you still have really great play pieces. Just missing some of the big momentum. Like stuff like this just kind of replaces some of the other cog pieces. Mech is definitely nice because you kind of just zero in on an item type and then that's all you'll really end up running. On the blue side, Mushroom Sentry is still good. Heath is better than... No, well, it's a 4 breakpoint for late game. I mean, you could probably get away with just running them all. Definitely a question of cogs, though. And then anything that creates a awkward decision point for an opponent, right? Like this, tap to create. And this is what? It could be a 6, and if you have 3 cogs, comes back. Even as a blue, Zeppelin seems kind of nice. Now skip. Can probably be taken as yellow. Anything else? I mean, Zeppelin just seems like bread and butter for a simple deck like this. I mean, right away, that's fairly decent. Right, 42. Probably more copper cogs. And you just throw in some easy play pieces. 9 should probably do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then we just go mech. Figuring out the cheaper equipment might be a bit more strenuous. Especially because a lot of like the quality arcane stuff is tied behind Majestic, which will be also another interesting thing for Silver Age. Probably just like the 0 to 60s. Just the good value cards. With enough cogs, Expedite could be good. I mean, in a sense, get to an action point, I suppose. Maybe there's also a rationale to swap weapons. Become less reliant on the cogs. And we could set up some more golden cog creation. Or gold generation, I guess, is something we need. Poly, though. The lack of poly definitely takes things down a peg. You can still run like T-Bones and soup ups. But yeah, there's still definitely a lot of value. I think mech is definitely one of the most solid classes, like split between all their different facets of rarity, is what I mean. Probably get away with zippy hits. Probably just blue T-Bone, actually. And then the only thing we're sort of missing is the cog. But again, Zeppelin comes in again if it's as long as it's landing, you gain that value. I guess you could just take turbines. What other cog generation do we have? Also take more of the cycling stuff. Because these are also there kind of just to upkeep. Might actually need more turbines. Well, when in doubt, play a few hands. Privates. And we'll see how functional this is. The protocols maybe not as necessary. There is definitely a lot of good value in there. Maybe tying the screws is actually not worthwhile. allows smaller plays, but if we don't have plays just like this, then there's no real point to it. Sentry's nice enough, so it should still be this. Frank. T-Bone. Spitfire. Also have to might make it. Yeah, I might have to make it more than 60 cards. Try and screws into the arsenal. It's not the worst turn. The main thing we sort of want to check is the value overall. But our strong suit would probably be going wide. I mean, we can get to enough cranks. No, we can't because we don't have the resources. Ugh. Need more blues. That's already a brick hand. Brewing Grenade just offers a lot of value. And screws in red. Maybe it's not necessarily in red. It might be get rid of some of the other pieces that you don't need. I think Soup Up's still better because you don't have to mill yourself. And the block can definitely come in handy. And Galvanize is definitely workable. It might be... Protocol just seems really nice with, again, the Zeppelins. But our cost is a little bit high going off of that entry hand. Remove. Taking some more blues. I mean, how many items are we at? A roll 9 plus 4 is 13. But we kind of want to... We have to look at cog generation. And you also want the ability to be able to play something straight after Zeppelin. Because in a deck like this, Zeppelin's probably acting as your cog, your like final turn for Puffin's ability. I don't think there's any good gold pieces. In terms of head equipment, what do we take? Icon to cycle. Again, armory deck stuff, Majestics are not so great for Silver Age. Headpiece is actually a little awkward. It's also one of the more valid slots. Signal rune in the inventory. Yes, it's the tricord. Nothing really feels great. To be honest, as a low rarity headpiece for her. Guess it should just be something defensive. Base piece. Eh. Opting doesn't matter. I don't think it's worth trying to squeeze in some of the Evo stuff. What's the actual effect on this? Remove Steam counter from this, shuffle, make no stack action for banish that into your deck. That's not worst effect. Because you can hit anything. So again, that's a way to retrieve one of our Zeppelins. I think Zeppelin is definitely the kind we're building around. I mean, maybe this gets you what you want. It allows you to cycle a cog. That actually might be good enough by itself. The ability to cycle a cog. Head. What are we missing? Arms. This is definitely for the maybe. I'll make benders. Again, same sort of issue. Not much in the slot. No rune in the inventory. Guess it's just something to push damage. Paying for an attack reaction doesn't seem worthwhile. The instant on this should be decent, but then having block is so awkward. This also means we need to feed in more boost, because currently it's 0 to 60 in T-Bone. Well, T-Bone, I guess, is still fine as an opener. Maybe T-Bone's actually not good enough in the deck. We can probably cut out the yellow stuff at this point. Just rely on blues. I keep the Zeppelin. No, not the Zeppelin as well. So 6 more blues. Try Turbine. As long as you're getting the card draw off of it, you're happy. And Grand Screw doesn't come in blue, right? As part of a triplet reds, yeah. But Mechologist blue, something of good value. It's also a rare. Don't think it's put more cogs. Expedite could force a block. It's a little bit of boost. Is the go just make a big weapon, even? Get 1 cog out, pump your weapon, shoot. Get 2 cogs, you get that little bit extra value. I mean, that could also be a solid game plan. This is also one of the facets that, becomes a little bit of an issue for trying to make new play decks, is there is a lot each hero can do nowadays. It's a 3-block blue. Does semi matter because it's an action point? Doesn't feel great though. You know what? I'll go back to the Zeppelin. We'll give it another whirl. Private, single player. Am I not 60? I missed the Zeppelin. It still let me play though. No? Nope, apparently not. Oh wait, what did I miss? What did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I miscounted because I took out a boom grenade and a protocol. Maybe this isn't good enough. I mean, protocol just seems really nice in Puppin. Being the fact that you can crank off of it, get a card, and then basically float a resource and get its value. Maybe it's not boom grenade. This is definitely one I might have to work out for a little bit. Alright, so this turn sucks. We draw a Zeppelin, and it's a little bit better. Resource short, though. I guess it's just this. Easy enough for them to block, though. Because I can still tap it. That confuses me so much. Also, sorry. Keep forgetting to swap back and forth. Arsenal bats. We have another cog, we have another item. The turn is nice and simple. It's just this because it makes a cog. Protocol, get a card. Yeah, it still feels like I'm a bit short on blues. 7 +1. And we haven't actually boosted anything. Maybe this isn't as nice. No, graveyard. It's fine. I think the boom grenades are a bit overkill. You don't have ways to flies on them as much without some of the majestics. I think just more copper cogs is fine for now. Alright, find another game, and then, yeah, I think we'll take a crack at building a generic deck, because there are a good, healthy amount of generics now. Yeah, and still on the more welcoming side. Alright, one more Kayo game. Hmm. What am I sort of missing from outside interference? I like my options currently. Bully tactics to try and win a game. Mocking Blow with Mandible Claw feels like it's always better than Big Bully, so maybe Big Bully should go in the deck. It's the max, cool. I'm going first. Another deck I wouldn't mind checking out again at some point. Not enough time to play all of them. There's way too many heroes. Hmm. I should have taken out Meeps. I keep forgetting against a mech. Meeps isn't good enough. 3. I don't think they have any token generation. I mean, if we draw a blue and something, we'll definitely be happy. Oh, we still got there. I was tempted to just discard Shelter. I should have kept the blue in hand. I want the value. Alright, Vigor check, life check. Nothing to do with it check. Short on resources for Meeps. I can concealed object, that gets me the resource for Meeps. And it's a blue and then stash. So I guess we just go and disarm. And I do want to throw out concealed object, right? They don't make me KO. I can follow up with a swing. Yeah, that's good. Throw that out now. Should probably wait, but we'll play a bit aggressively. Just hate having to sit on hold priority on Teleshare. You can have your counters. Just an aggro match. I look forward to you mech stomping me. What? They definitely seem to be going for mech. It doesn't draw a card, steals an item. Yeah, going with the yellow one. Guess it helps. So I ideally want to swing here. Fine. I want the item anyway. Alright, and then Tunic's up, and this is still a decent chunk of damage. Well, the bank breakering. Oh yeah, that makes sense. They block with one. It's been so long. Why can't I zoom? What's the twice per turn, but you need the action point generation. So they're. Oh, that seems so awkward with hit the gas, doesn't it? Still. Oh no, there you go. They get boosted one. You have to hit 3. No, you have to hit 2 to gain the action point. 2 to gain an action point, 3 to draw. 2 to gain an action point, 3 to draw. What are we blocking? So I have 2 resources there. Outside interference plus 2 blues means I can big bully and swing. So it should be that, which doesn't help. But we're going to anyway. Just for the might. Again, I said I'd play aggressively. This is as aggressive as we can get. And then a 4. They start losing the counters. Then we just clap back with a ton of damage. And Men will call first. Men will call first. Or yes, and I can still big bully. So ideally, I should have blocked a little bit more and just mocking blowed, because the stat line difference is not huge, right? This is a 15 for those 2 extra resources versus 13 off of mocking blow. And ideally, I'm meant to, you know, hold on to Tunic and not be as aggressive as I'm being. But maybe I'm meant to be aggressive against Max. And fearful of the mech. Let's just shelter. What destruction could they have? I don't really need Skeptins for anything other than the block. Tried to gear the deck to be nice in that sense. Max. Just Bankbreaker. So 4 and a 4. Yeah, their turn value doesn't seem fantastic. Does this have any on hits? Just the twice per turn. When stacks make bash card under it, yeah. That's reaction. Now it's just a CNC pummel. If only there was a way to get Galvanic Benders under it. And I think our turn is still bigger, right? When this cycles around, we can just bully them. Block 6. The last card. Then having one card really hurts. With Mocking Blow again, I need 8 resources, so I can't play the booze. I can play the booze and just Mocking Blow. And then that's only 6 resources. And that's a bit cleaner. No, there's no reason for the double block. Hasn't played booze before breaking the chain. Don't need to be greedy. Oh, that's in the wrong slots. And we have 3 resources set up for our next turn, so yeah, we're fairly content. Hey, Havoc. Definitely enjoying Kayo. I can see and see if it was free here, which is definitely nice. Granted, we have the booze, so it should probably still be Mocking Blow. Give me my life, and we probably want to get the Might. Probably want to get the Might. Phoenix up. I need to keep it blue if I were to Mocking Blow. It's most likely. Villainous better? If I keep my whole hand, it's Villainous CNC, which isn't that great. Eh. Yeah, he definitely is a brute in both senses. Like the aggro with Buckwild now is crazy. I could be greedy and I could Scabskins, yeah. No, we didn't land. And then this deck is quite fun. Guess I'm just wasting resources. This is an 8. This is a 8 as well. But this can't... I doubt they have defense reactions. I also completely forgot to play Villainous Pose. Oops. Right, we're building for a big turn. Yeah, Bankbreaker ain't it. With how fast they sped it out, I feel like they could have actually done something with Nitro. So Bonus. What resources do I have? I have access to 3, 4, 5. Not enough to double villainous. And then overcrowd should just stay in the arsenal. You missed a really, really interesting Rock Rider, taking a whole bunch of go again stuff. And they had the Embrace of Determination, and they were using that to float resources. So like, go again from hand, pitch a blue, float 2, tunic, rock. They're pulling off some really crazy turns. Yeah, it was nutty. They got me pretty low. Like, it was surprising how functional the deck actually was. But no brute stuff. Well, occasional for a few. Like, Vigorous Roar, Beat, like Inline Strike, Flock, Razor Reflexes, and then all like the fatigue cards. So standing, was it stand? The heavy hitters stuff that allows you to convert to more block. It was a very, very crazy deck. Alright, Villainous is free. Yeah. Should have probably. Scab Skins, because then you can just... This would have been game if I rolled Scab Skins and got it, right? Because it would just be Nimby into Nimby, and they wouldn't be able to block enough. Still have to block a ton here. Now we just need the big bully finisher. There we are. We Scab Skins for the fun. It should still be Mandible Claw first. We have more than enough resources for it. I'm very tempted to try Cheap Shot with how much boo I have now. This would also be a nice way to close out the game. Makes the big bully turn slightly smaller. I'm very curious if they run Nitro. They don't. So it is kind of just trying to speed out Bank Breaker. They have Moonshot. They have some finishes. They don't actually have the new Max card. Alright. Find another game. We're due a loss. Ah, there we go. Buckwild checks value. Savage Sash checks value. Discard checks value. Race Face is not good. Nor is the go again for swing big. I think the deck's fine as is. We're going first, so 50-50 on our draw. Mind? Ah, now we're not going first. Race Face. Instead of what? The dash. Oops. Hmm. Turn wasn't the worst going forward. We won't. Oh, are they just setting up? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I almost missed the whole priority. Oh, their blaster dash. Interesting. We had a pummel and nothing to do. Well, it's just a big NIMBY, I guess. Pummel sits in the arsenal. We might be able to take an early lead with tempo here. That's quite the life gap for us. As they continue to set up. Interesting. Do I have the resources for Big Bully Pummel? 6. So I have 1 floating, and I need 8. 2, 4, 2. Yes. Okay, so I can't claw, but it's still a nice turn. And I have outs if they overblock. Otherwise, it does seem like we're just going to end up aggroing them down at this point. How much are they blocking with? So we can get to a 16 and discard. They're only blocking 6. So I think we go for the full Monty. This gives us a nice healthy buffer for once they start sending damage our way. The Boo, I think, is going to be most relevant. It's just Mocking Blow. Means I do want to Scab Skins. So it should be Mocking Blow into offensive. Hmm. They must have a lot of return damage. What's their range? I don't think they can kill me. At least I'll be surprised if they can. I'll take my tokens. Boom Grenade, Goliath. 14 Throttle that I then just pick apart. And we're playing Flex. Don't really have much else to go with it. Might as well full block. So that was a decent chunk of damage. And these both 3 blocks, that's fine. How many resources do I need? I have 2, so it's free, so I need 4, so I only have to keep 1 blue. It's still better for us to send the 9. I mean, it's still decently big. Yeah, I don't think they have the damage anymore, even with this obsessive start. And we win by Mocking Blow, by Bully Tactics. That is Bully Tactics. I don't have the resources, though. Claw Bully Tactics should be the win. So we just take the damage. Easy enough. Another interesting deck. T-Bone's fine. And you can have both at this point. I'm a little scared that they might actually end up killing me with the boom grenades. Another T-Bone. I don't need Tunic at this point. And they're 10. Yeah, they almost got there. Definitely scary stuff. I don't even have to risk the scabs here. Unless they had some form of healing. Bully tactics. And then clean up their hand. RKO's easy way to win. So how much damage do they get up to? 26 and 34. Once they had everything set up. Interesting. They didn't end up making use of the blaster. Like, if they had synapse? Is it synapse? What is it called? Symbiotic. If they had symbiotic, it feels like they could have pushed more damage. And probably KO'd me. Anyway. Alright. Last thing for us to do. I wanna look into making a beginner generic only deck. That makes sense. And it still feels like Ira's the best candidate because she just has the most open hero ability out of anyone. I'm just making sure. Like, she's by far the simplest effect, unless you build your interior around her weapon. But if we just go with generics. In a PB budget-friendly deck. Because it does feel like we're getting to the point of having... Why does that look wrong? What have I done? Begin. No double N in... No. True English. But yeah, so one of the things that I dislike about the change of the welcome deck is Ira just seems so open, right? Granted, Gorn and Blitz back for Silver Age. It's just so simple. If there's anything to teach someone, it's definitely through a hero like this, rather than Bravo, who wants A, crush, and B, sit on stuff in your arsenal. Which I suppose teaching Protector Arsenal or What's Arsenal is a thought, but even then, with the Bravo deck, it is basically, well, you have to Arsenal your crush card to really use its effect. So, yeah, Ira just seems like the golden standard as an intro. So we want to do commons and rares. See if we can come up with anything decent. I mean, yeah, 14 pages of cards now. I mean, we'll start with reds. Because you have, very versatile block pieces like Bastions. That is still, decently big to send as Ira. I think it's definitely really workable to send something like this. Problem is, weapon-wise, right, we'd have to fall back onto, like, Kadachis, and then, maybe there's not enough good blue stuff. And blocking is always an issue here. Blocking, go again, and maybe feeding into weapon. You do have, like, blow for blow, life for life. Scar for a scar. You have the new Jack stuff as well. Like, I think simple Nimbleism deck. Yeah, not trying to be completely optimal. But just okay with it. Definitely be workable. Remember when Push the Point was all the talk? It's just such good value. I guess Razor Reflexes could fit. No sinks, because it's going to end up Project Blue. I would like to stick some defense reactions in there, again, to make it a teachable thing. Anything else half decent? You play a non-attack action cards turn, Big Rush gains go again. That's kind of nice off of, like, Nimby. Also, is it showing rares? It feels like it's not showing rares. Is it S? Don't want to screw it up? I might have to do them one at a time. Oh, no. I stuck it in the wrong spot, that's why. And it must be without the S. There we go. Alright, that's much better. But yeah, even cards like Blusterbuck now. Really good choices. I guess fix the curve. Problem is, I don't necessarily want to build it around her, like, Harmonize and her weapons. Even though that's probably the simplest thing to do. And I do want some somewhat jank stuff in here. Just for, again, teaching's sake. Essentially, I want all the cards in deck to function with one another, rather than specifically the hero. Just a nice generic shell that you could start with and then start tweaking and changing. I guess you take Alishare. Rise Bulb is not a good defense reaction. Here's stuff like this is kind of nice. Also, the line is a +2. Tapping them is also a nice new mechanic. Well, it's always nice just to, you know, take stock of all the cards. There are so many nowadays. Blue Nimby, Blue Nimblism is easy enough to include. And you still have strong cards like Fiddler's Green. There actually does seem like there's a decent chunk of go again pieces. Bluster Buck and all those. I mean, a 1 for 5 still blocks 3 if you have the resources. Does seem nice. Gunfight's not good enough value though. Down to size. Should definitely be the jacks. Base of Leaf just because it's defense reaction, I guess. Definitely the jacks. I don't think there's quite enough go again. Guess the Flying Highs are workable, and then if you're using Flying High, you'd probably stick in Vigorous Rush. Looking for a scrap. I don't know if there's enough ones for Vigorous Scrap, though. You could, I could throw in just blue 3-block ones. There are any. Much above your weights. So potential 3 for 7. That is kind of a fair enough stat line. Probably still take Ravenous. Not gonna end up with too many blues. It's a nice, simple aggro deck. And we separate into, go again, which will include the actions, chain finishes, and then defensive stuff. And then the idea there is I can present, better finishes, better go again pieces, stuff like that. That's not a bad thought. It's really hard without like a generic weapon, aside from Talishare. I can understand their rationale for not making any. It will definitely become a bit more problematic. 1-3 blocks. Looking for a scrap probably isn't workable. Guess blue should almost be the defensive pieces. We also haven't gotten any new, like, generic block stuff. The same caliber of what we've seen, coming out of the last few sets for block pieces. I assume Fiddler is probably not going to be useful in Project Blue, like in terms of it being banned. Maybe not so much on the horizon. Anyway, to start, and now I have two to think about and figure out for a bit later. So I think we'll leave it there for Flesh and Blood. So I've got some old school RuneScape to play with Gridmaster on, but still, played a fair few games as Kayo, and they were fairly decent. So